You can access the entire episode now on our website, forbiddenknowledge.news, Rokfin, Rumble, and all podcast platforms. Now, you focus on a few angles in this film surrounding the assassination. One, like you just mentioned, the mob involvement. And I've had plenty of different JFK researchers come on the show and give their different versions and theories about what happened. And across the board, the mob is always involved. And with the mob having the marriage with the CIA, of course, there's going to be involvement there. But do you think that the primary reason for what was to occur next with the so-called assassination was primarily because of his attack on the mob?
Yeah, definitely, 100%. We say other theories in the film, but the main emphasis is the mob. I don't think the mob. I'm really a historian on the mob. Okay, it was one of my favorite subjects, especially this time period from 1940 to 1970, and the mob was one kind of mob in 1949 when Joe Kennedy left it, but it was a completely different kind of mob by 1960 when the Kennedys got in, and that mob had become more secret, more willing to compromise, and more willing to off people, but in a way that wasn't as obvious as before. So before, the mob thought it was really cool to come by and shoot somebody in the head in a town, in the middle of the night, and have them laying on the street and everybody sees it, right? And get scared that the mob's going to kill them. But now they started suiciding people and car accidents and throwing people off buildings and things to make it more obscure as to what they were really doing to hide their presence. And I don't think the Kennedy brothers understood how vicious the organized crime had become by the time they got elected in 1961. Really
and also, we show in the film JFK Act Solving the Crime of the Century, the FBI recording the informant, which was Joseph Miltier. And yep. Miltier is basically telling this FBI informant that's undercover exactly how, if he were to assassinate the JFK, how he would do it. You said that he would do it from one of these office buildings. He said that he would take a high-powered rifle up there. He would break it down, because you could break it down and take it up there and then unbreak it and bring it back down, and that they would pick somebody up immediately after the assassination, because the FBI informant asked him, well, how would you get away with it? And he was like, oh, well, they wouldn't suspect anything if they didn't actually know what was going on, and that they would pick somebody up minutes after it happened. And this was a month before the supposed JFK assassination even happened, or around a month before. And yep. That's exactly what happened. It's exactly what they did.
Yep. And to emphasize what we're saying in the film, the FBI had to tell Kennedy about that recording. I mean, they had to. That's in the record. The FBI is under the president. That's who runs the FBI. They had to have given Kennedy that recording. He knew there was a hit out on him. He knew that the right-wing groups that James Miltier represented were also deeply associated with the mob and the CIA. And so he knew that these groups were kind of, what James Miltier represented is a three-way marriage between the right-wing groups, the mob, and the intelligence agencies. And Kennedy had come to realize through that recording, I believe, that he was in serious, serious trouble, and that he had peed off everybody. And in a panic, he decided to make a move that would save his family's life. Because what people don't understand is that the mob just doesn't kill you. That, if you really wrong the mob, and they thought because the Kennedys won the election because the mob had turned Illinois, i.e. Chicago, over in the 1960 vote. So the mob thought, hey, we got a guy in the White House now that owes us. You know, that's how the mob works. You have favors, you get them back. And Kennedy's did not pay the favor back. In fact, they could be construed by the mob that they stabbed him in the back. So Kennedy had to find a way to not just save his own life from being killed by the mob, but he had to find a way to save his family's life. Because when the mob comes at you, when you've really done them bad, you know, they kill your dog, they kill your kids, they kill your wife, then they kill you. So they really rub it in. And, you know, this happens all the time. It just happened recently in Canada with that older couple that got killed mysteriously. They're billionaires. You can watch, you can see somebody was killing their pets, you know, and it was slow progression towards them until they got it too. And so this is how they do it. If you really wrong them, they're really gonna come after you. And this is one of the reasons why the mob didn't deny it. They weren't sure who did it, and they're still not sure who did it in their mind, but they didn't want it denied because what power that gave them to know that everyone in the country thinks that they can assassinate the president of the United States in the town square and get away with it. And so they were perfectly fine with sitting with whatever the scenario really was.
Now, before we get into the possibility that Kennedy did indeed know that there was a hit on him and he was going to take action on that, you also cover aspects of Oswald and his life that may not be known to a lot of people, and some interesting facts about what was going on that day with Oswald. Without giving away too much, would you be able to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's actually I can go. I'll go a little further with the Oswald than I will with the rest. I don't want to be a spoiler. I want you guys to see it. Here's the thing: the explanation that we give is a film, so you have to watch it. It's not, you don't hear words. You want to watch the film. It's a film, and it's enhanced. It's a high quality 4K version. But what happened with Oswald is that, you know, he clearly, you know, was ordered to do stuff. He was clearly a spy. He'd served time in Russia. He had a Russian wife. Russia was our biggest enemy, still is. And he comes back and everything's fine. He gets taken up by a guy named George de Mohrenschildt, who's a white Russian, who is anti-communist and a spy. And clearly Oswald, who can speak like 4 languages, is some kind of spy. And he's been told to take a job at the book depository. He doesn't know why. He's been told to take a long package with him to that day to work, so everybody can see him with this long package. You know, it's like, you can break the gun down, dude, and put it in a little suitcase. You don't have to carry a big package like this and then tell everybody that they're curtain rods. Why are you bringing curtain rods to work when you stack books all day? So anyway, it was clear that as soon as the commotion started, he knew something was wrong, and he knew that he is probably the patsy. And he started, you know, went to the movie theater, basically what he did. And he was then arrested for the murder of J.D. Tippit. J.D. Tippit is a policeman in the Dallas police force, and his nickname on the Dallas police force was JFK, because he was a dead ringer for JFK, the real JFK. And so we have Oswald with this peculiar coincidence of killing 2 people, supposedly, on November 22nd, 1963 in Dallas, Texas, who look exactly like each other. What an incredible coincidence this is. And there's nobody denying this. I mean, it's a given fact that he looks like Kennedy. So then Oswald is arrested, and then absolutely, we show it in the film. It's outrageous. They publicly bring him into a press conference.